I guess, and I think we probably differ on this, but I don't know, I don't necessarily, like, people can look into it if they want, but I don't trust the average person to be competent to understand what they're reading without the benefit of like a medical education.
Yeah, that's true. That's another problem with our society, though. Is
like that's my only issue with this. I think if you say, look at this chart in this study, half the people will, look at the wrong number, right? Like these things are confusing and people are dumb.
Yeah, but still the point is, if the CDC says that vaccinated people will be protected, and virtually all the people in the CDC's Massachusetts study and Singapore and Israel, and you can look those up in Reuters, those news articles, it's virtually every person who is going to the hospital is vaccinated. And the people that aren't vaccinated are not going to the hospital, despite the fact that in the nightly news, Dr. Fauci will say it's 99.9% of the people. And then when the Senate asks, where's the evidence of that? They tell them you can't have it. Or the Biden administration even asked the CDC, where's all this? There was a news article the other day. Where's all this information at for these recommendations you're making? And the CDC won't even give it to the White House. Yet, if you go to the CDC's website and you read what they tell you, vaccinated people are protected, and then you read the study, it says literally the opposite. And I don't think that you need a medical degree or medical, a background to understand that it literally says 74% of the people who were quote unquote positive were not only not sick, most of them, but they were fully vaccinated. That at the very least should make people question, then why did I get a vaccine to begin with if most of the people on average, whether it's in Israel, Singapore, or the United States, who are sick and going to the hospital or test positive are fully vaccinated? That doesn't make any sense. And I don't think it's supposed to make sense. I think that this whole thing is meant to create an unstable society. I don't think that it has anything to do with science or the science. I don't think that it has anything to do with health or people that are unhealthy. I think it's about destabilizing society. And when you look at what the Great Reset is, and you look at what states in the United States like New York are doing, it has nothing to do with disease. It's totally arbitrary, their approach to the so-called coronavirus pandemic. Everything in New York, from my experience, it's about virtue signaling that you care, or virtue signaling and using toxic chemicals. It's disgusting. I don't know. I don't want to ramble about this all day, but I mean, I get what you're both saying, and I actually agree with you. Right. One, yes, most people don't have that background, but two, I don't need a background to read a number that says 74% were fully vaccinated. That doesn't make any sense. They're telling us the opposite of that. And I also, with what you had said, I fully understand that we should trust those institutions, but not fully and not entirely. We should have reserved skepticism for those institutions. I mean, these are the same institutions and the same ideologies that mainline medicine, mainline doctors are the third leading cause of death in the United States. And when you factor in heart disease and cancer treatments and things like that, doctors are literally the number one killer of Americans. From heart disease and cancer to even properly prescribed and properly taken pharmaceutical drugs, not to mention the improperly prescribed and improperly taken drugs and the unnecessary surgeries, literally killing hundreds of thousands of people a year from negligence, malpractice, from doctors being too tired to perform a surgery and messing up. There have been dozens of people that have died in the last couple of months because they've canceled. This is crazy. They've canceled surgeries because of SARS-CoV-2. And yet the reason they had to cancel surgeries, but the reason they were going to do these surgeries was because the doctors had left medical instruments inside of the body. People got infections and died. That is absurd. Mainline medicine is the number one leading cause of death in the United States. You got a broken bone, doctor can help you out. You got a little issue here or there, a doctor can help you out. But when it comes to big things like this, and there's trillions of dollars involved and medical licensing involved and big pharmaceutical companies and international organizations and the UN, it's anything but science that matters. It's all about power and authority. It doesn't matter if you're on the left, the right, or you're down the middle. That's where I stand on it.
I don't disagree with you on that. And let me throw in these two sides to this coin before we move on to the next topic. And one is that we were talking about why take the vaccine and blah, blah, blah. And straight from the get-go, they told us that this won't necessarily cure you. It'll just make it so that you don't die. We knew that it was a possibility that the people who took the vaccine might even be contagious. So they weren't necessarily hiding that. But the other side that I'll throw at you that also goes with what you were saying is my wife and I we're vaccinated, and she's upstairs sick right now. So, take that and critically think on it however you want. I would urge anybody out there to critically think. And that does not mean gray the crap out of everything that comes your way. It means gray it up and then turn it into black and white.